Welcome, Hudson Valley. This is Conor Walsh, host of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. This week on In Touch, we have fund development and volunteer coordinator for Mid-Hudson Love INC, Joel Ratzlaff. Load up on sweets ahead of the Super Bowl and Valentine's Day because Love INC is hosting their annual cookie walk on February 10th with over 800 dozen home-baked gourmet cookies. Not just that, we also dive into the expansive work that Live INC does to help individuals in need in the Hudson Valley through their volunteer programs, classes, and more. We invite you to join us and listen to a previously recorded conversation between Jewel and myself here on In Touch. Hello, Hudson Valley. You're listening to another edition of In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program, and we have a very delicious episode for you guys today. We were talking about this event before getting onto the microphone, and honestly, I probably had to wipe my mouth several times from how much I was drooling. This is going to be one of the most spectacular events happening this February, and one of the most delicious events, first of all. Really excited to be speaking with our guest today. We have Joel Ratzlaff, the Fund Development and Volunteer Coordinator with Mid-Hudson Love INC. And also, there's something special about that ink that might surprise some of you guys, but we'll get into that in a sec. Jewel, how are you today?
I'm well. Thank you so much, Conor, for having me.
Absolutely. Really happy to have you here. For those of you guys who have been with the program for a while, Jewel has actually spoken with Patty, of course, our producer. Now, this is my first time getting to have you here behind the mic, so glad to have you here and continue on the tradition and everything.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yes, pleasure to be here.
So the way we start off most of our episodes here at In Touch, we start with a little overview of the organization that we're speaking with. So for those who are uninitiated with Love INC, could you tell us a little bit about what you guys do and tell us a little bit behind the ink as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. When you see ink, usually you think that's incorporated.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's capital I, capital N, capital C, because it actually stands for in the name of Christ. It's love in the name of Christ. Even though we say Love INC, that's really what it stands for. Love INC is a national movement that was founded in Grand Rapids, Michigan in 1977 as a way to kind of bring churches together to serve their community, specifically to address issues surrounding poverty. People who are struggling to make ends meet often turn to the church for help, and the church is sometimes unprepared or overwhelmed with all of the needs. And so the concept is that if we can communicate and work together as a network, we then are much more efficient and effective in meeting needs, and we don't duplicate offerings. So all around helps the community because we're communicating. We know where the various soup pantries are, where the various other services. We know where they are when they're open, and we can direct people and communicate and refer. We also refer and work closely with local organizations like Hudson River Housing and Dutchess Outreach and Department of Social Services, and we're part of that safety net for people who are struggling to make ends meet.
That's such a good thing because, you know, growing up in the church myself and I went to a Catholic school. I was altar server and sacristan for my parish. So I was very involved and I got to see a lot of behind the scenes that a lot of people didn't always get to see, and the way that things worked. And not to say that things weren't great, because there were a lot of great things coming around with it, but there was also a lot of just scattered initiatives, you know, a lot of things where the communication could have been better or fallen through, or do we have this? Don't we have this? Always good intentions, always good people. And trust me, a lot of great things did happen, but having that communication and that interconnectedness, I think would have really benefited us really well. So I'm glad that this is something that you guys can offer. One thing that I noticed during the pandemic, for instance, when I was the caregiver for my grandparents and we were doing some stuff for them as well, there were a lot of great Catholic and Christian charities that we're able to reach out to help us out, and also for us to reach out to as well. We had stuff to donate. It's like we had these things where we don't need this anymore, but it's still really good condition. We want to help somebody else out, and they were able to help us out. So again, to have something more centralized I wish I knew of you guys sooner. That sounds fantastic.
I understand, yes.
You have so many awesome programs, and we definitely want to get into them later on in this episode. But the thing that I really want to focus on right now is an event that you guys got coming up in February. It's an annual event that you guys do, and it is so impressive, so delicious, and I think it's perfect for just about anybody in the Hudson Valley of any age group. And it is your 16th annual cookie walk that's going to be happening at the Poughkeepsie United Methodist Church. I'm going to leave it up to you to go into the rest about these homemade cookies that you guys have. It's an astounding number of cookies that you said it is. That's typically there. Tell us about this event and tell us how people can enjoy these wonderful, beautiful cookies, which you can see pictures of on the website right now.
All right. Happy to do it. Yes, this is our 16th year of offering this cookie walk, and we usually choose the Saturday right before Valentine's Day.
Smart.
So here you go. You can come to Poughkeepsie United Methodist Church. There's a beautiful fellowship hall with all of these gorgeous cookies laid out. You get a bakery box. You get a plastic glove and probably a mask. So we're trying to keep everything as clean as can be. You walk through these tables with platters of gorgeous cookies, and you pick up your favorites. And then when your box is full or you've gotten all the chocolate that you want, then you go and you weigh them at the end, and it is a suggested donation of $9 a pound for these cookies. And then you have this gorgeous box of cookies for your sweetheart, for your neighbor, for your coworkers, for grandma, whoever you want to share them with for Valentine's Day. And last year, we had over 100 people baking.
Wow.
They donated 800 dozen cookies.
Lord almighty, holy.
Including gluten-free. We have a beautiful table of gluten-free cookies that's set aside. So there's something for everybody. I usually go through first thing in the morning looking for coconut because my husband loves coconut.
Okay.
And then I go through again looking for chocolate because I love chocolate.
There you go.
And nuts, almonds, and there's something for everybody. And it really is a fabulous way for people to feel like they're doing something good for somebody else while getting some fabulous homemade cookies.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for kids to bake.
Yep.
It's an opportunity for grandma and grandpa to bake. Anybody can contribute homemade baked cookies to this event if they wish. We ask that the cookies be dropped off at Poughkeepsie United Methodist the day before the event, because what we do is we then take several volunteers are involved for hours displaying these cookies on beautiful platters. And we cover them with plastic overnight and then zip them off, and in comes the crowd. And we usually have quite a crowd right at 9 o'clock in the morning. It starts at 9.
Nice.
And we say it runs till 2 o'clock, but honestly, some years we are out of cookies by 1 o'clock. I mean, it's hard to judge.
Yeah.
Sometimes the weather is a factor. We have more people stopping by, or one year we had a big snowstorm, and that was a real challenge. But you never know. As I said, it's a suggested donation of $9 a pound, and that all goes back to the work that is done by all our volunteers helping people locally in the community who are struggling to make ends meet.
That's really cool. I really love the idea of this. I know I want to be there. Not just the fact that it's before Valentine's Day, too. It's right before Super Bowl Sunday. So people who are having all of their Super Bowl parties, they can grab some cookies and they can have just all of this ready to go for when they're watching the Super Bowl, too.
I forgot Super Bowl is the 11th, right?
Yeah,
the next day.
Exactly.
Perfect.
So another great way to prep for that, if you want to just have like a great spread of cookies. So it's fitting multiple things right there. Valentine's Day, fitting the Super Bowl. Actually, what was it, a year or two ago? Weren't they the same day or something, or a day in between?
Could have been.
I don't know. It's still very close. I know for sure a lot of my friends had some really iffy dates that day, that's for sure. It's like, but babe, it's the Super Bowl. No. But as you said already, this is such a great way to get people of all ages involved. You know, baking is one of those things that you can enjoy at any age for anybody who are making the cookies. And then the day of, it's one of those events that anybody of any age can get involved just to show up, enjoy. Probably got kids running around. You probably got the grandparents running around too. It's like seeing everything.
Yep.
And the demand is incredible. And the fact that you said 800 dozen, not 800 cookies, 800 dozen.
Yeah.
So that's a lot, and that's amazing, all the volunteers that you guys have in regards to that. So for those who want to donate, want to bake cookies and contribute to this event, do they need to call ahead of time to let you know that they're going to be dropping it off? Is there a time window they have to drop it off? How does that work for the donations?
They don't really need to let us know ahead of time.
Okay.
If they want to, they certainly can send an email to info@mhlinc.org and let us know. But they can just stop by the Friday before, which would be February 9, at Poughkeepsie United Methodist. And someone will be there receiving cookies, I believe, from about 10 o'clock in the morning till about 7 at night.
Okay, so that's a pretty good window right there.
Yeah.
Easy to work with.
And then all day Saturday, we are putting the cookies out on platters because there's no way we can get all 800 dozen out at once.
What?
So if you come at 9 o'clock, you can come back at 11 o'clock and there'll be a different array. So they're just putting a plug in for repeat visits. So.
That sounds fantastic. I really love that. And of course, all the links and information will be in the description of this episode for you guys to be able to reach out, email if you like, or have more info on this. Plus, we got pictures of previous years, the spread of cookies that there are for that. And let me tell you, just like looking at this earlier myself, I wanted all of them. Again, you're listening to In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's Public Affairs and Issues program. We're speaking with Joel Ratzlaff of Love Inc. of the Mid-Hudson Valley, talking about their 16th annual cookie walk, and that's going to be happening February 10th. That's a Saturday, 9 to 2, but don't wait too long because those cookies might be gone before 2 o'clock. They have it right before Valentine's Day and right before the Super Bowl, so make sure that you get all those special people in your life. It's a lot of great cookies. I know we're still a few months out from this one, but I wanted to talk about this as well because being a musician in my own right, I just love promoting the arts. And you guys have a showcase of talent that's going to be happening April 20th, and that's a really cool event. You told me earlier that this is the second year that you guys are having this. Last year sounded like so much fun. I know we still got a while. You probably have a lot to finalize with it for this year, but what can you tell us about last year, and what are some of those things that people can expect this time around?
Sure. Happy to talk about that. We will be holding the Showcase of Talent once again at Faith Assembly of God Church on Route 9 at the Casperkill
the
location.
Casperkill campus,
They have a beautiful space, great sound system, beautiful stage. Last year, we had quite a variety of performers who came from our local churches, and we had a band, we had a dance group, we had 2 stand-up comedians, clean, and we had a harmonica player, we had a couple of singer-songwriters. I think there was even a poetry reading.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was really a nice mix. It was about an hour and a half, hour and 45 with an intermission. And at intermission, wonderful desserts. Again, homemade, beautiful desserts and coffee.
Nice.
That we will be offering this year. We didn't offer coffee last year, and we heard, I'd sure like some coffee with this chocolate cake. So we said, okay, you're right. We need to put coffee on the menu. So we will have coffee and desserts again this year. That will be, as you said, Saturday evening, April 20. It's at 7 o'clock at Faith Assembly.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's relatively cheap to get in, right? The registration for the tickets, that was $10, right?
Tickets are $10 a person, and for a group or performer, it's a $25 registration fee.
Sounds good. And of course, come on, it goes to a good cause. You're helping out a lot of great people and you get to showcase your talent. That sounds like a lot of fun. Absolutely. So I definitely wanted to give you a plug about that. That's going to be a great event. One thing I realized I neglected to say, we were talking before we got on the mic about what you bake for the cookie event, but we didn't say it here. And it is so delicious. So I just wanted to give you a moment to be able to showcase that as well.
Oh, my goodness. Well, yeah, I usually bake these mini cheesecakes, which has half of an Oreo on the bottom in a cupcake tin. And then it's the cheesecake yumminess. And then there's a layer of chocolate cheesecake yumminess. That gets baked. And then there's cherries on top.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, just a wonderful bite of cheesecake and chocolate.
That's terrific. That is so, so sweet. I'm so looking forward to checking that all out. I'm going to make sure that I come on down and try every little bit if I can. But transitioning from something that is sugary sweet to something that is really sweet in the community, I want to focus in on the programs that Love Inc. offers and the ways that you guys help those who are a little less fortunate or are struggling right now. Impressive process that you guys have where people can request certain things. You have volunteers that help out and provide based on what's around in the area. So could you walk us through the situation where somebody needs assistance and how Love Inc. can help meet those needs?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. We have a volunteer core of about 180 people.
Beautiful.
These individuals have gone through a training so that they understand the full scope of what we're about, which is really about building relationships and restoring hope for people who are struggling. And you mentioned the pandemic earlier. I mean, we just hear so much loneliness and isolation from people, even now.
Yeah.
Even now that things are still open, I think, are opened up again. I feel like the pandemic really has changed our culture and there's a lot more hesitancy to connect with people. That's one of the priorities for us, is to connect with people, to build a sense of trust and relationship that we are going to be there for them, helping them walk through a difficult time.
Yeah.
It's not just once and done, thank you for your phone call, goodbye. I should mention that people get in touch with us through the phone.
Okay.
That's the initial contact. So there are volunteers that are at the phones 3 days a week. If you happen to call when there's nobody there, leave a message and we'll call you back the next time folks are in. You go through an initial phone call intake interview, which maybe is a 30 to 40-minute interview, because we really want to listen.
Yeah.
We want to hear what's going on in somebody's life, not just the immediate need of maybe grandma needs boots for the grandchild, but what's going on in the household, what's happening. And maybe grandma needs more than just the boots, but that was just the first thing that she was prompted to ask for.
Yeah.
And so we do offer tangible resources. We offer personal care items, things that you cannot buy with food stamps. So things like toilet paper and soap and laundry detergent, toothpaste, those kinds of things that are really important day to day. So we do have a pantry that all of our local churches and Girl Scout groups and schools can contribute to. They contribute new product, and we pack about 15 to 20 bags every week, and volunteers deliver those bags of personal care items directly to the individuals at their door.
Wow.
That's hundreds of bags that are delivered. We also do linens. We have a furniture ministry. We have a collaborative bed ministry with one of our partner churches. So those are the kinds of tangible things that we can offer, that we actually do deliver to the home. But we also do referrals. We try to help people find the resources within the community that are appropriate for their needs. And then we also always encourage people to dig a little deeper and become a part of our class offerings. So we offer classes that help folks feel like they're part of a community, that they've got some buddies. They're having fun. They're learning some great tips. Maybe one week we talk about nutrition and label reading and economical, healthy cooking on a budget. Another week we might have a guest speaker from Hudson River Housing talking about being a good renter and what are renters' rights, what are, how to deal with issues around renting. We talk about basic budgeting. We talk about finding the resources that you have within yourself and how you can contribute to your community. And so it's building people up, building up their sense of confidence and who they are and their own giftedness, as well as a sense of, hey, we're in this together. I'm not alone in my struggle. So we find people who go through our series of classes really develop a sense of belonging and value and hope for their future. We offer classes that are focused on one of the second class that we offer is a budgeting class, and the third class that we offer in a sequence is all about examining different areas of your life and figuring out, well, what area is giving me the most stress? I think maybe I need to focus on that, and I need to do something about that. And so we help people sort through those issues and find things that they can make changes on, that they are motivated to make changes, and see them blossom as those changes happen. And when they finish that class with specific goals and action steps that they want to work on, we then can match them one-on-one with a mentor.
Oh, wow.
Who walks with them then maybe through 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or a year as they work on those goals that they've identified for themselves. So it's a great way to match someone who's got a skill set that they've developed in their job or in life, and match them with someone who's looking for a buddy to walk through a tough time. I mean, how many of us can think back to that special teacher or that special person who invested time in us, and what a difference that makes in our lives? Well, this is part of the overall program that Love Inc. has to offer.
That's awesome. You guys really tackle so much based on all that. It's great that you're able to match those physical needs, of course. There are so many people that are looking for things in regard to furniture, especially sleeping, mattresses and all that, taking care of food, taking care of their hygiene. That is so important. And just being able to meet those day-to-day needs, that is fantastic. But I also love the fact that you mentioned that first phone call, that first interaction where it's like, sure, that's the question, that's what you need, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
There's more to it than that. And there's a lot of places that just will leave it at that. It's like, oh, you need that? Here we go. And nothing wrong with that, because it's great being able to help out those needs. But the fact that you're able to go that next level deeper in multiple different programs and classes and just simply those conversations and mentoring, that's amazing, because you're right. We've had so many conversations post-pandemic about how the landscape has shifted, how things are different, how things have changed for businesses, how things have changed for individuals. Sure, it might look like some things are back to normal, but everybody has been changed because of it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you guys can be there for people to offer that kind of community, so cool.
Absolutely.
What kind of impact have you seen from just individuals getting involved and taking these classes and receiving these things? What have you seen, like, on a personal level for these people?
We've seen some really remarkable transformations. Again, it's things that they identified themselves. It's not us saying, you know what you need to change? You need to do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about loving people, listening to people, building relationships, and investing time in them, and helping them to recognize their value and how they want to proceed and what they want their future to look like. So one individual who was struggling to find a job position needed somebody to help walk her through that. And as it turned out, even before she did get that position, she had a really traumatic loss in her life. And the mentor had gone through a very similar thing. Wow. And they were able to walk through that together. And I mean, it was really beautiful. Another individual who was struggling with anxiety and broken relationships and kind of floundering began to work on those issues, reestablished a relationship with his young child, reestablished relationship with a parent where that relationship had been broken, and we helped him get on his feet with the relationships, which then allowed him to move forward career-wise as well, because he was really struggling with a number of different issues. There are lots of great stories.
Yeah.
But we do see some real joy and a restoration of hope, that people don't have to stay stuck where they are. There are people who will take the time to listen, to invest time, to walk with them. So we're hoping that we can be a good partner in our community, in helping lift the community and build a sense of togetherness, that we're in this life, we're doing this life together. It just makes a big difference when you don't feel like you're alone, you're the only one.
Yeah, totally. Restoration of hope. I love that. I love that line right there. Again, you've been listening to In Touch, Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley's award-winning public affairs and issues program. We've been speaking with Jewel Ratzlaff of Love Inc. They have a fantastic event that's going to be coming up, the 16th annual Cookie Walk, happening Saturday, February 10th. That's going to be going on from 9 to 2. However, it only lasts until they have all the cookies, so make sure that you get there early to enjoy all of that. They also have their Showcase of Talent happening later in April 20th, where people can show off their talents. But then, of course, in the later half of this episode, we've been talking about the wonderful supportive programs that Love Inc. offers, is at the core of their mission. And again, I'm going to reiterate, restoration of hope. That is such a powerful line right there. From physical needs to stuff within you, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. Somebody's there to help walk you through it. And I think it's just such a great program to have here in the Hudson Valley. So, Jewel, thank you so much for being here on the program. For those who are looking for Love Inc., whether it's to volunteer or whether it's to receive some help or get involved with some of these classes, where should people go to find this information?
Sure. Our phone number is 845-471-0102, and the website is mid-hudsonloveinc.org.
Terrific. And of course, all links and information will be in the description of this episode. So in case you forgot that or you weren't able to write that down, don't worry, just go to the website. We got that all set. Jewel, thank you so much for being here on In Touch. I think it's a great event, the Cookie Walk in particular, to start the year off with. And I'm sure I'm probably going to be bringing myself and my family over to that. So
I'll save a cheesecake for you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Conor. Appreciate this opportunity.
Absolutely. This has been this week's edition of In Touch, the award-winning public affairs and issues program that runs across Townsquare Media, the Hudson Valley radio stations. We want to give a big thank you to Jewel Ratzlaff. For more info on Love Inc., please visit mid-hudsonloveinc.org. Of course, all information can be found in the description of this episode. Whether you've been listening for a while or you just joined us, thank you. You can find In Touch episodes new and old on your favorite streaming services like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. That and listen on demand with your Townsquare radio station mobile app. Of course, you can still find all articles and audio under the In Touch tab on this radio station's app and website. And don't forget, we're also on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at InTouch_HV. If you like what we do here on In Touch and want to be on the show, let us know. Whether you have a topic you want to discuss or you want to be a guest, you can fill out the In Touch submission form, which can be found in the description of this episode. I've been your host, Conor Walsh. Until next time, stay curious, keep an open mind, and as always, I'm glad we get to spend some time.